Welcome back to the Broadman Word, and we are continuing on with the life of Solomon. And today we are going to be looking at a bunch of different names, but basically the idea is a part of Solomon's wisdom is the fact that he delegated really well within his kingdom. So we're going to see a list of Solomon's officials. And as we read this list, keep in mind as a believer, as a follower of Jesus, who are we surrounding ourselves with? Yes, we may not be in charge of a kingdom, and so we don't necessarily need recorders and priests and governors, but we do need to surround ourselves with godly people, with people that we can trust, that we can go to. And Solomon does this pretty early on in his kingship. So turn with me to 1 Kings chapter 4. We're going to look at verses 1 through 19. 1 Kings chapter 4, verses 1 through 19. Let's start in verse 1. King Solomon was king over all Israel, and these were his high officials. Azariah, the son of Zadok, was the priest. Elihoreph and Ahijah, the sons of Shisha, were secretaries. Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was recorder. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was in command of the army. Zadok and Abiathar were priests. Azariah, the son of Nathan, was over the officers. Zeba, the son of Nathan, was priest and king's friend. Ahishar was in charge of the palace, and Adoniram, the son of Abda, was in charge of the forced labor. Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel who provided food for the king and his household. Each man had to make provision for 1 month in the year. These were their names: Ben-Hur in the hill country of Ephraim, Ben-Decker in Makaz, Shalbim, Beth-Shemesh, and Elon-Beth-Hanan, Ben-Hesed in Arubah. To him belonged Soko and all the land of Hepher. Ben-Abinadab in all Naphath Dor. He had Taphath, the daughter of Solomon, as his wife. Baana, the son of Ahilud, and Tanakh, Megiddo, and all Bethshan, that is, besides Zarathan, below Jezreel, and from Bethshan to Abel Mahola, as far as the other side of Jokmeam. Ben Geber in Ramoth Gilead, he had the villages of Jair, the son of Manasseh, which are in Gilead, and he had the region of Argob, which is in Bashan, 60 great cities with walls and bronze bars. Ahinadab, the son of Edo, in Mahanaim. Ahamaz in Naphtali, he had taken Basemath, the daughter of Solomon, as his wife. Baana, the son of Hushai, in Asher and Bealoth. Jehoshaphat, the son of Paruah, in Issachar. Shimei, the son of Elah, in Benjamin. Geber, the son of Uri, in the land of Gilead, the country of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and of Og, king of Bashan. And there was one governor who was over the land. So, a lot of names, some of them pretty nuts, and some of them, a lot of them, very hard to pronounce. But what is the point of all these names? Well, as we see with some of them, there's a couple of them, they're actually son in laws to Solomon. It's not just people that he picks out of a hat, but these are people that he knows, that he has a relationship with, that he has a connection to, and he trusts them not just with the day to days of the kingdom, or sorry, of his house, but the kingdom as a whole, with the whole entire country. And so, what should that tell us when we, as believers, are looking for friendships? What should Christian friendships look like? Well, one, yeah, I mean, obviously, they should just be complete strangers. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but having connections on a personal level is important. You want to know who exactly you are delegating a role or a job to, and that's incredibly important. And I think we see that here with Solomon. He is not just trusting these random people, but folks that he knows. Second, you want to trust those that have the same beliefs that you do. It's not just that he was trusting people and delegating jobs to people just because their name is interesting or their name is hard to pronounce. No, it's because they are Israelites. They have the same goal in mind to further the country of Israel, but also to further Solomon's kingship as well. And so I think that's kind of what you're seeing here. And so, with that, for us as believers and followers of Jesus, it is important that we have friends that are incredibly, incredibly Christ like. Not that you can't have friends that are unbelievers, but when you and I are trying to get things done for the gospel, whether that is a parachurch ministry, that whether that is a local missions ministry that you have in your church, whether that is a global ministry that you are trying to get started out of your church, you want to have people that you can trust that have your same beliefs in mind, not just at the foundational level with Christ in mind, but how do we see ministry? How do we go about evangelism? Now, this doesn't mean that we have to have the same ideas exactly, but we have to have the same beliefs uh, in our foundation. So really, this is all about not just Christian friendship or godly friendship, but delegation as well. And I think this is important. As a pastor, one thing that I have had to learn is when to delegate and that it's okay to delegate. Just because something needs to be done doesn't mean that the pastor is the one who should do it. Just because things need to be done in the kingdom doesn't mean that King Solomon needed to do it. It's a very famous passage, but Jethro, the father in law to Moses, has to take Moses aside and say, look, you have to take responsibility and delegate for this country that you are over. Well, Solomon sees that the same way. And so, even though it's easy to say you should delegate, it's still very wise to do that as well. So, we see another reason for just another display of Solomon's wisdom here as he is delegating to these officials and these friends that he has put in these different roles. So, with that, as you and I, as believers, whether we are in pastoral ministry, whether we are just serving the church, or in whatever capacity that we are in, find ways to delegate, find ways to come alongside other people, encourage them to get into service as well for the kingdom. So, with that, I just thank you for spending a little bit of time with the Broadman Word with me today. Next week, we will dive into Solomon's wealth and more examples of his wisdom. So, with that, I will see you next week with the Broadman Word. Thanks.